Hi everyone and welcome to One Six Figure Focus. So the Hot Toys DX19 Batman was released today in Hong Kong, but unfortunately, it's not perfect. Let's get started. So this morning, I woke up, I put the kettle on, I had a cup of tea and I checked Instagram and the first thing I see is that the Hot Toys DX19 Batman from The Dark Knight has been officially released in Hong Kong. So this is obviously sculpted and based on the likeness of the character Batman. That's the second suit, the one that makes it easier for him to back out of the driveway because he can turn his neck, and based on the likeness of the actor Christian Bale. Now, this was one I was invested in from the start. This was virtually a dopo for me, and I tend not to do that. But look, I love this movie. I love this trilogy. Christian Bale is my Batman, and yeah, basically this is my favorite suit for any of the designs from any of the movie in the Batman. Anyway, so like from the start, my point is I was into this and I was anticipating it. So much so that I sold my DX02. No regrets there because the thing was virtually a statue. It had a thick rubbery outer suit that made it very, very difficult to pose. Every time you'd move the elbow up, it would flip back down. It was kind of impossible to pose because the undersuit, the body that they were using wasn't strong enough to, I suppose, deal with the thickness of that suit. Also, it had that broken ankle issue. Basically, it had weak ankles, which broke, and they did. So I sold it on, took a loss, but I do believe that this is going to be superior. But it's not perfect, right? So I was really excited about this, but there's a few little issues I have. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of these photos and go through it. Right. So these are photos by I think the artist or the photographer is Jingo Bell. I think that's the handle that they go by. So the first thing we're going to start off with this box. So this is impressive. This is a DX19 figure, so it tends to come with a more kind of they put a bit of extra care and effort into the boxes. Now the regular Hot Toys boxes, the artwork, the kind of slip covers and all that kind of the artwork on them and the detailing on them and whether it's the cigar band or the tray inside, there's a lot of care gone into them. They're basically pieces of art, hence the term art box. But the DX series boxes tend to be a little bit more, they just tend to be a bit more impressive and a bit better packaged. There's foam to protect the figure. They tend to be like bigger, sometimes with the magnetic slips. And I'd say this is no different. If you have a look at this, you seem to have the outer box, okay? And then at one side, the figure slips out. And obviously you have the figure there inside protected in foam. I did watch the Sideshow unboxing. That is a 4-minute video that's up on Sideshow's YouTube channel now. It definitely puts some of the little concerns I had to rest because there's only so much you can tell from photos. I will address them as the video goes through. You have this is like a keyring. Look, it's a nice touch, but I'm never going to use it. I'm not going to walk around with this and get this dirtied up and weathered up. Like, I want to keep this pristine, so I'm never going to use that. Yeah, look, nice touch and all that, but a bit of a strange one. Never going to use it. So let's flick through some of these. So the box art is impressive. You have it here pictured next to the Batpod, and they have it pictured next to the Batpod quite a bit. And myself personally, I have bought and paid and ordered the Batpod as well because I do want to display these next to each other sometimes. Obviously, I'm going to rotate between displaying this in one cube, Viditolf, and then next to probably one of the Queen Studios Jokers that I have on the way. That just makes sense. But sometimes I'm going to take this out and just have him standing with the EMP gun or something like that next to the Batpod because just kind of on the table next to the computer while I can edit videos and stuff like that. I like that thought. So there's a few things. Now I'm just going to flick back to these are the actual images. These are like blogger photos for the actual release. Now I'm just going to flick back because I'm going to get the head sculpt. Yeah, I'll address the head sculpt first. That makes sense. I'm going to flick through the head sculpt, and that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to flick back and forth from the actual images of the product and then the prototype. So this first image, these are the blogger photos from the actual release. It looks good. It's definitely Christian Bale. I've said it before, if you've been following the channel, what I regard a good head sculpt is, if you just take the head sculpt, okay, with no mask or no makeup on it or nothing that would link it to that character, just the raw head sculpt, and show it to someone, even if they're not into science fiction or comic book or like the superhero films or anything, even if you just show them the head sculpt, they're like, oh, that's Christian Bale. And I do think that this is that type of head sculpt. However, I do think this is a slightly better one. It's by no means a bad head sculpt. This is by no means a bad head sculpt. But I just feel maybe it's a little soft. You look at the detail in the lines on the sculpted hair here, which is phenomenal. Like just all the little details, they really nailed that kind of likeness in the sculpted hair here. Even like the eyebrows, the way they've done them here. Now if we flick back, right, there still is a certain amount of detail. It could be just lighting, it absolutely could be just the angle. But I think the difference here, the chin is a bit wider here. I've heard some people say that this is more accurate to Christian Bale's chin. I do think that he was a bit gaunt. I felt like in the two of these, the actual figure and then the prototype, they're very kind to him, because from my understanding of this, like I think they actually, it's strange because on the box on this one it just says The Dark Knight, but I'm pretty sure they marketed this as The Dark Knight Rises, and it has that base with snow on it. So in The Dark Knight Rises he's a bit older, he's a bit more weathered up looking, he's a few wrinkles there because he's supposed to be a bit gaunt as well, because he's older and he's like, hasn't been training and stuff like that. They've been very kind to him in the prototype. He looks a lot younger, he looks more like Batman Begins, and they've been kind to him here as well. So maybe a bit soft here. They both have that in common, but I still think the prototype image is a bit stronger. So yeah, so that's the first thing. I do think like it's not bad. I think maybe like none of them are a 10. I think maybe this is maybe a 9. I was hoping they'd maybe put a few wrinkles in there and age them up a little bit and put it up to a 10. But they didn't do that. I think they've maybe taken a small step down, only a slight step back. So I think this head sculpt is in or around the 8. I won't know officially until I get it in hand. I really want to see it in hand. Just to, that's the best way of judging a figure. So it's not bad. I'm not like disappointed by that or anything like that. I thought they were going to just age him up a little bit like they did with Wenwu. They released him, he looked a bit too young. They released updated the head sculpt photos, and it's basically like a photo of him as he appeared in the movie. So this isn't like, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's not terrible at all. It's not terrible. It's about 8 out of 10. So the head sculpt is solid. I just thought it'd be a little bit better. All of this, I'm going to flick through all of these images. Like the head sculpt looks a lot better there, and comparing here. Yeah, I am probably splitting hairs a bit. I think this is a strange photo, like him just without the cowl randomly holding up a batarang there. Strange choice. What I really like here is you can see the detail in the suit here. This chest plate here, obviously you have the black color here with the bat emblem, and then you have, I really like this kind of, I suppose it's like kind of almost like a gunmetal type of a kind of a grey color. I really like the way it's not just straight black, there's details there, and I love that. So the suit here, the detail in the suit, I think they've absolutely nailed. So I'm going to continue on through here. Yeah, just taking a look at this here. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, I think that is, I was hoping that this would be the best 1/6 scale version of this particular suit. And as far as I'm concerned, it is, because I've never seen a 1/6 scale version of this particular suit from the Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises that they've absolutely nailed. Like I said, the DX02, basically a statue, poor joints, thick rubbery suit, broken ankles. I think like a lot of the other ones, even the DX12, the Armory Batman, sometimes the eyes look a bit googly looking. I think the shape of the head as well, and those ones, the cowl, I think they fixed the shape of the cowl here. It looks a lot more screen accurate, I think. Whereas the other one, it kind of looked like a bit of an egghead and had a long neck as well. So the detail in the suit looks great. Really like these kind of double, there's like, I think there's a row of 6 in total. I think they're all double-edged blades here. I think there's 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, and same on the other side. The kind of the gold belt or utility belt looks good with all the little accessories on it. The detailing here in the torso area. Now, I did take a look at the actual images from the movie just to compare this, and I have to say I do believe that they've definitely made the best version of this particular suit. Now, I did say it's not perfect in the intro, and the head sculpt is one reason. Like, I was hoping that they pushed the 9 out of 10 prototype, age him up, and it'll go into the 10 bracket, but it actually dropped down a bit. So still a good head sculpt, very, very good, 8 out of 10, that's great. Like, but not entirely perfect. Just going to see here, I just want to draw your attention to something else as well. Here, the cape drapes well. You can see it's just plugged in there nice and neat, it's not gathering, same here, and it's straight down. With the two suits, that's the way I would display it if I was draping the cape and just standing him straight up and down like that. However, with the Batman Begins one, I think that's a better one to have him completely covered over when you have the cape drawn across him. I wouldn't do that with this particular suit and this particular cape anyway, but I think if you try to do that, as later photos will reveal, it's not going to work. But I always think of the first suit from Batman Begins as that kind of almost comic book ones when he's draped all the way over, and this one maybe drapes a bit more behind him. If I'm wrong on that, or if you disagree with it, it's not really about me being wrong, but if you disagree with that, let me know in the comment sections down below. But yeah, straight up and down, that looks good. That's going to look exactly, that's why I bought it. That next to the Queen Studio Joker would look the standard, wouldn't look out of place. Yeah, not much you can tell here. The cape appears to be draping well there. This is, you can see where I'm going with this. I'm very skeptical when it comes to capes. Now, plugged in well there, and it sits straight down behind, kind of in between the neck and this shoulder plate. I think as soon as this starts to go over here, that's going to start to gather, and that will really, really bother me. And I think if you're particular, as I'm sure a lot of you are when it comes to these figures, you'll want that nice and neat and draping behind. So I think there's a bit of messing around with this to be done. If you don't want to get a custom cape. I do have a custom cape. I got it for the DX02. I don't know if it's going to plug into this. Hopefully I won't have to use it. That's what I'm trying to say. The head sculpt here looks great. The eyes looks great. And the likeness on those faceplates. That's another thing. The faceplates on some of the past Batmans. Christian Bale does make strange faces, whether he's as Batman and he's talking or whether it's action pose mid-fight. He does make those strange faces, those kind of aggressive faces. And it's up to Hot Toys to emulate that, and I feel that they have now, whereas before they were trying to copy it and really wasn't working out. Yeah, I mean, faceplate looks good here, just the neutral one. The suit as well is definitely, I think they've improved articulation, because you have kind of like a neoprene kind of a suit underneath, and then all these armor plates are basically separate pieces that are on top of it, just like in the movie. Because remember when he got this originally, the character Morgan Freeman's character Lucius Fox did say that he'd be more susceptible to gunfire and knife and blades and stuff like that, because the knives could slip between the plates. So that would make sense. But I think the way that they've done this here with the undersuit, the kind of neoprene undersuit and the panels on top, that's better for articulation. And again, if you watch that Sideshow 4-minute unboxing clip that they have up, definitely would put any concerns to rest. And I think the reason they did that is to pose it better on the Batpod. This looks good. That looks exactly like the movie. Even the eyes here, the way that it obviously has the PERS system, so you can move the eyes to look in the direction that the Batpod is going. Those little touches make a massive difference, because if you haven't posed like this, no matter how good you have it, if you don't have the eyes in the right place, it's going to look off. So the cape is draping well here as well. Can't wait to get the bat, but this is so yeah, like this, I'm not sure where they're going with that. Like he's look, it's probably a bit of creative license there with the blogger photos there, but I personally wouldn't pose it like this. If I was posing it with the EMP gun on the Batpod, I'd have him straight up. So I'd have him standing across it, like straddling it, and then just have the EMP gun as if he's taking a shot. Similar to this, I want to show you. So this is not, I'm switched back to Sideshow, I'm switched back to the prototype images, which have a few very questionable poses. This, like this here, I'm definitely going to pose it like this. That's probably like the first thing I'm going to do when I get the Batpod and the two of them together. It's very, very simple. Just have the Batpod there neutral, have him standing just over the saddle, and look at how he's holding this. Now, when I saw this is the photo. This is a selling point as far as I'm concerned, and we'll even go a bit further here, because if you look at these, the way he's holding that looks very, very natural. It looks like he's walking forward. It looks like he's looking over the edge of a building to see what he's aiming at. His shoulders up here, this shoulder's dropped. It looks very, very natural. Same here. Look how close his eye is to this. Like the full bend. There's a double bend on the elbow. I did see that in the Sideshow 4-minute clip, the unboxing clip that they did. So this elbow here, like that has to bend all the way to make sure you get this, and that's basically, when I leave that, I love that pose. It's very, very simple. So I like the way you can have the option to pose with the grapple gun, the EMP, or the sticky bomb gun. Remember, these are prototype images. Going to keep that prototype image there and then flick back. I wonder, will we get that? I don't think we will. Yeah, this looks good. So we just went back to the start there of the photos and just flicking through from the start, because I had started midway because I wanted to see the head sculpt. Like the head sculpt does look well. Like I reckon if I just took that and showed it to my dad or something like that, or you know, someone who's just a movie fan, and just the head sculpt on its own, no hint of Batman or anything, they'd say, oh yeah, that's your man Batman, or that's Christian Bale. Like that's the definition of a good head sculpt. You just show the face of the head sculpt and someone knows who it is, even if they're not into this particular movie. So it is good. It definitely, they've been kind to him though, and there's a bit of slippage from the prototype, but still a solid head sculpt. I'll give this about an 8. And you know, there'd be a tendency for people, like I tend not to do it, but I know I can be a bit biased when it comes to the Dark Knight. Like, I want to say it's great, but I gotta catch myself on and go, right, is it the best head sculpt you've ever seen? No, it's not. Is it bad? Absolutely not. Because there's that culture of something's amazing or something's rubbish. No, something is an 8 out of 10, and I do think this is an 8 out of 10. It's a strong head sculpt, definitely not bad by any means, but they should have aged him up a little bit, and there's just a little bit of tweak I could have put it up into a 10. This looks phenomenal. Again, the photos with the bat pod, they just all look great because the poses are so simple. You stand him straight up and down, you turn the head to the left. That's fantastic looking like that. And the blue kind of hint of the light coming in here, the frosty blue light, just bouncing off this side of the character. The photographer definitely knows what they're doing there. Yeah, it's one of those mouth plates, a faceplate, isn't it? That are a bit questionable. So actually, I've seen other angles for this. This faceplate does look good. Looks a little strange there, not bad, but just a little strange. That's dead on. That's dead on. That's the kind of the Christian Bale kind of, I suppose, that fighting pose or whatever, you know. That is dead on. So just like if you look at the cowl, the shape of the cowl they've got right in the lines, I think. The obviously the mascara under the eyes, you can use the purse system and move. That's good. Mouth plate looks good. Articulation looks good here. Bit of bunching here, but I mean, I'd take a little bit of bunching over the DX02 any day of the week, where you literally wouldn't be able to do this with the DX02. It's just, I tried it. The arm went up and flopped down, so it must be like the suit underneath just not strong enough to support whatever material they're using. They seem to have kind of a gloss here, or kind of water, because yeah, that's kind of a nice touch as well the photographer's done. I wonder did they actually use water or did they just Photoshop it? Probably just Photoshopped it. Yeah, the chest plate maybe looks slightly big, or it could be just the light or the angle possibly. But yeah, look, the suit is the star of the show here, I think, the actual suit, and that's why I bought it. Like, you know, so the suit, I do think they've absolutely nailed the suit, and they've brought advanced articulation here, and just double jointed elbows and knees as well, according to that video I watched earlier on. The EMP gun, the way he's holding it here, yeah, it looks good still. I don't see it. Maybe now I want to pose it like this. Now maybe the photographer just didn't think to do that, which is fair enough, like, but that's what I really want. Okay. The intro, I did say it wasn't perfect. Okay, now it's not a bad figure by any means. It's solid. Like I'm definitely, like, I sold the DX02 because I thought there was a better version coming, and there is. This is it, so I'm happy. But the cape, Hot Toys do not do good capes. Okay, they don't do good capes when it comes to this character. See how bunched up that looks there. If you look at how bunched up that looks there, I'm gonna zoom in so you can see it. Yeah, see a lot of bunching there, because you have to be very careful when you plug that in. You need to put that straight back. I don't think it's going to work if you're going to have it over to the side. And this particular suit, like I mentioned earlier, it didn't really, as far as I know, it didn't do that kind of pull over look with it. I think that was more for the one from Batman Begins. Again here, bunching up here again. So we're getting into the imperfection here. So the head sculpt, it's not a 10, it's an 8. And the cape, I don't even know if they've done anything different on this cape. I'm looking forward to seeing those video reviews come out and getting it in hand. I got a second batch from, I bought it off TW, so I'm going to be waiting for a while, I imagine. Yeah, it looks good here the way it's plugged in, and it's over the shoulder here, but as soon as it comes around here, you start to get bunching. Like, look at here. Like, if this was in the movie, and even if that was happening, it would drape down. Like, the way that this pops up like that, it takes me out of it. You kind of know it's not an actual photo of the character. It's just a 6-scale replica. So for me, I'd be draping it over the shoulder and backwards, as opposed to here. Again, I'm splitting hairs here now with that. And first of all, I think this looks straight out terrible. I just think this looks terrible. This looks very similar to a lot of the bad capes on like the DX02 or the DX12 that I've seen before. Yeah, and I've seen a lot of videos saying that the cape is just not good, it doesn't drape right, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. So from what I understand, from what I've seen, I don't think they've made any advancements with the cape. Now maybe people get it in hand and completely disagree with me, and maybe I'll see it in hand myself or see it in the video and go, okay, I'm wrong about this. I really hope I am. But I do have a backup of, I've kind of, you know, I got a custom cape produced anyway, and hopefully it plugs in the same way. It was for the DX02, but hopefully it'll plug in here if I need it, but I really hope I don't need it. I plan on just using the official cape because I prefer to use the official products, but I'm going to play around with it, just plug it in here and have it draped right back so it doesn't kind of bunch up around the side. I want, basically, you should be able to see the shoulder pads when I pose it up. Now this here, okay, first of all, with this particular stance, there's no need for that mount plate there. I think that looks a bit silly. Everything else looks good, but I'd swap out the neutral mount plate, would be better there. And the way he's holding this gun, I'm going to go back out here and look at the prototype images, because I made such a fuss about this earlier on, that the way this is naturally, the way he's holding it, like his stance, the pose, even though it's angled down, big bend on the elbow here, that looks natural, that looks cool, that looks great. But here, that just looks very, very awkward, okay? This looks like, you know, still from the movie. And this here, now it could be just the posing of the blogger, because like the photos are great and all that, but yeah, this here, I hope he didn't just pose it like this because he couldn't get this, or they, or whoever they are. Like maybe they just didn't want to do this, they wanted to do something different, which is fair enough. But I'm hoping that you actually can pull off this from the prototype as opposed to this. Yeah, again, head sculpt looks good, 8 out of 10. Back to the box then. Yeah, look, so my overall thoughts on this. Am I happy with it? Yeah, I am. Am I looking forward to getting it? Yeah, I am. Am I glad that I took the gamble and sold my DX02? Not that it was much of a gamble, in fairness. Those ankles were broken, and it was basically a statue. The reason I got the DX02 is because I love that Hong Kong heist scene. And I bought it with the intention of posing it with the sonar eyes and the sticky bomb gun and the backpack. But then I saw they released the quarter scale and the DX19. So my plan for this is to pose it with the cape. That's why I'm so concerned about the cape. So my plan is to have like this, the Queen Studios Joker in one detail from right next to it, then have this with the cape kind of flowing down the background, and then from time to time swap it out with the EMP gun and have it right here on the desk with the bat pod. And then I can use the quarter scale on a floating shelf here next to me with the backpack and the sticky bomb gun, like it's if he's doing the Hong Kong heist scene. So overall, yeah, I am happy with it. I think the head sculpt is good. I think the suit is on point. I really, really like the accessories that they have, the EMP gun, the sticky bomb gun, and the grappling gun, and the usual Batman effects. I think they've improved the cowl. The only gripes I have with it from what I can see here, and again, I don't have it in hand, is that cape. You're going to have to really fuss with it, I think, to get it to look good. And the second thing then, the head sculpt. I was hoping it would improve, but look, I know there's this argument that like you can't expect the prototype. I'm sorry, but I do expect the prototype. Like, you know, these are expensive figures. When I see the prototype image, I do expect the prototype. I know that there is a gamble, you're not always going to get it. I'm completely aware of that. But I do look at the prototypes and go, yeah, I want that. That's what caused me to pre-order and hit that button. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed that the head sculpt didn't go and stay the same or go in the opposite direction, make him a bit older. Still a solid head sculpt, 8 out of 10. You know, for $290, I think you're getting a lot of value. They have put a lot of effort into the box in here. The figure itself with the suit looks great. Bit of fussing with the cape, but I think with a bit of fussing, this will look great on the shelf. So that's pretty much it. This is a longer video because I'm very, very enthusiastic about this particular character, this particular trilogy. So if you're still watching to the end and you want to support the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. I'm sure that a lot of people out there are going to get this. I'm sure that a lot of people either have an opinion on this, whether they like him or not. Maybe they like the voice, or maybe they don't like the voice. Maybe this isn't your Batman or not. I want to hear your opinion on this. Are you getting it? Are you not getting it? Do you like it? Are you happy with the head sculpt? What do you think of the cape? That's the main thing. What do you think of the cape? And yeah, also follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. That's pretty much it. See you in the next one. Good luck.